You get ejaculation in masturbation and also in partnered sex. But for some reason, ejaculation due to masturbation is bad, but that due to having a partner is deemed good. Where do we draw the line? And again, what are some of the effects of having masturbation, and how do you stop if it's actually affecting you? And by the way, is it bad or good, bearing in mind that we have studies that have picked boys having fun with themselves inside the uterus? So that we move on, ejaculation due to partnered sex and also masturbation, it's not different between those two, because you are going to trigger the same mechanism that will give you semen, unless you have some magic where semen is not coming out. So in those situations, both of them, the same mechanism will be involved, in as much as we have studies pointing out that you might have a slightly higher amount of semen when you have a partnered sex compared to when you're having masturbation. Now, the dynamics of the two are different, because you find that in masturbation, there might be something that you're using to help you either visualize or have the feeling that will drive the erection, especially in men. And when it comes to partnered sex, stimulation might be higher in partnered sex compared to when you're doing masturbation, and especially if it's a solo masturbation, that's you're doing it on your own, there is no one. Because we have partners who can help each other in having masturbation. I'll put some links in the reference section of the description box of this video to the references of some of the studies that were done that were able to observe boys having fun with themselves in the uterus. So they were just having, okay, I don't want to call it masturbation, they were having fun. Let's call it that way so that it doesn't sound weird. So that we get this out of the way, what are the good sides and the bad sides? Let's start with the good sides. What are the benefits of masturbation? First thing, you have to understand that this is actually accessible. So financially and economically, this is a little bit cheaper. Away from that, I'm not an... Okay. Anyway, you don't usually get UTIs. Okay, the rate of getting UTIs and STIs are usually lower compared to when you have a partner, which compounds or even adds the risk of you acquiring STIs and UTIs. And I keep saying that UTIs are UTIs, STIs are STIs, sexually transmitted. But we have UTIs that can be transmitted sexually, but they don't change. They don't change from being UTIs to STIs, but they can be sexually transmitted, and it doesn't change them. Better reduces chances of you having them, because it's you and your clean hands. I'm assuming they are clean. Or maybe the tools that you're using are not shared and they are clean and you clean them. And maybe you can use povidone in case maybe you're using tools. You can use povidone to clear everything. Or maybe jig. But okay, the residues, I prefer povidone. Or maybe hydrogen peroxide. That is if it's a must. Because I'll give you my view of masturbation, whether you should or you shouldn't, or my view of it at the end of it. But let's go to the second one. It prevents unwanted or unplanned pregnancies. So you don't have a kid that you're going to have as a result of you not having planned for that kid. We also have so many studies that have picked benefits of having ejaculations either through masturbation or through sexual intercourse. The draining of the prostate will reduce chances that you might get prostate in the future. So the group, we had groups that were divided into those who are having frequent ejaculations and those who are not having frequent ejaculations. Those who are having it more had a lower risk of getting prostate cancer. It's not 100% definitive, but we have theories like the stagnation theory that suggests that we have fluid that will stagnate inside the prostate, and the higher the frequency of removing them, the lower the risk of acquiring defects due to having carcinogen that is stuck in your prostate. So you reduce chances of having prostate cancer by draining that fluid which is stagnating there. If you're not getting a partner, maybe masturbation can help in doing the same thing. But then I prefer a partner. You know why? Because these are two people who are having fun from a single activity. If you're alone, it's a single activity being enjoyed by only one person. If you're two, you're also bonding, and so many things are going on here. So why not get a partner if you can? In as much as you also increase chances of getting STIs and UTIs, especially if you are in a row. If what they say is true. Anyway, partnered sex is actually better because of you have relationship. They also get a chance to maybe get a blackmail out of them. Something like, I need chocolate. Or else, fertility is not affected at all unless you are overdoing it. If you're overdoing it, you might get erectile dysfunction. Okay, we are going to see that in the next segment. But then fertility is not actually affected because you see, and let's jump to men, because you produce every second, you produce 1500, around 1500 sperms per second. So every second, 1500, 3000, 4500, 6000, where do we go next? 7500, all the way. It goes like, by the time I started this video, you are almost approaching 1 million, just in those ranges. So you have a lot of sperms. Something that might be affected by this is if you are having, let's say, 10 times in a day. Semen is a composition of several things. Let's narrow down to zinc. Zinc will help very much in the integrity of the DNA of the sperms. Now, if you are, let's say, masturbating, you are ejaculating every now and then, you're not having good reserves, you're not replenishing zinc, you might end up having lower quality sperms in the future, but this will take you so many times of ejaculations in a day and for a longer period of time. Now, let's say instead of having a partner somewhere hidden, maybe a backup or an insurance policy somewhere, putting that in quotes because you know it's a joke. Instead of having that, how about your masturbation is actually better because now it's cheaper. It's not going to add the risk in this family. You know how many of those things that usually circulate. You go get your partner, has another partner, it's a web. Now, instead of having that, how about you cut everything short by just, you see, 3 seconds of doing it. It will prevent so many diseases that usually occur out there, because inside that web, should just only one person have something which is, let's say, an STI, it can spread all through and it will come all the way into the house. Now, let's go to the negative side, because this is another side that need to be mentioned. The first one is you might have reduced sensitivity, because you see, you control the grip. Unlike in an actual partner where sometimes they can relax, especially if they are well prepared after foreplay, you can increase the grip, and this increases the friction, and the same way it's going to increase the chances that you're going to nut faster. If this is happening each and every time, you're going to desensitize the nerves that will be responsible for that friction. They detect friction and they help in ejaculation. So when there is desensitization of this, one, you might start having erectile dysfunction, that is, you're not able to maintain an erection for long, or you can take years before ejaculating, or you can take seconds. Within seconds you are done. So it will depend with the person. It can be all those areas. There is a slight reduction in the amount of semen that you have. This means if you're doing it frequently, there's a reduction in volume, which is not ideal when you're trying to get a baby. The other thing is it's prone to, you can acquire an addiction from it, because it's highly accessible. You can easily access it so long as you have a closed door and you have something that you can use to reduce friction. You're good to go. Another thing is sometimes people usually use that as a coping mechanism. Like if you're stressed, you just close the door, or maybe you just go to the washroom. This can become a habit, especially if whatever you are running from is something that will be frequent. People have even reported injuries when they are urinating. They feel some kind of pain in their urethra. This is due to, you remember, the grip. You increase the grip and the frequency of it. So if you do it every now and then, you might end up having those injuries, in as much as they are also reported in actual partnered sex. So now, how do you stop? Number one, it's quite easy. One, get a regular partner, because most of those who usually do masturbation, most of them don't have a partner. They're using this as a replacement for a partner. So get a partner. Chances will be extremely high that you're going to stop once you have them around, because you're not going to find the need. Number two, avoid being alone, because chances will be very high that an intrusive thought will cross you. At some point, I'm not attacking introverts. I'm an introvert myself. So I can understand that you can have intrusive thoughts, but if maybe you can have control over them, if you can be able to control them, then you can just have fun with not having masturbation in yourself. And avoid anything that can trigger you having that. And that trigger will be just go out there, try to look for something that you can be doing outdoor. Get a camera, go to Karura Forest, just get out of the house and get to a place where, yes, you might meet people, which is something I know you hate, but it's better when you're out there than in the house when you have chances that you might get an intrusive thought, and it will be very easy for you because you're alone in the house. Number three, uninstall Telegram. Okay, it's a joke, but we have so many groups there, so many channels there that are supplying in a kind of a leak. Okay, bringing Kenyans together. This has been something that everyone is almost doing, and this usually starts from somewhere. X. They go there, hey, someone leaked, do what? go to this channel in Telegram and you're going to find everything. So you get there, you get stuck. You find a place where you'll be having fun and you're there all the time. So it's also a trick. You can uninstall it, and sometimes it's usually very hard to avoid coming across such, but it'll be less frequent in as much as right now on X. I don't know what's actually going on. You just open your X account and everything in the feed are people who want to not wear clothes. And they can be a trigger. So maybe you can uninstall things that will remind you, or will tell you that there is something that you actually need to do. Or maybe they are going to remind you. Or maybe, okay, that would be a bad advice, by the way. Sorry. I'll cut this. Cut that section, remove it from the video. Also, when someone sends you a read once image on WhatsApp, it's a trigger that might be a trap. And especially if you know their past history, it can be a trap. It can be a trap. It has been a trap. Why though, anyway? In conclusion, personally, I don't support masturbation. That's on a personal basis. It's not that it usually affects you or your health negatively. No, it doesn't, unless you overdo it. So this is upon you to know, to weigh. Is it good? Is it preventing you from getting UTIs and also getting unwanted pregnancies? Or is it spiritually not good? It will depend with what you're going to view it as. If you feel that this is something that is actually affecting your life, stop. Don't do it. If it's not affecting your life and it's going to prevent you from getting something, which is by like having unwanted pregnancies or unplanned pregnancies or getting UTIs and STIs, I think you can consider it, but don't overdo it. And we're going to resume 2 lines of topic. The first one is what happens when something happens in the body that will be a line, and also neglected medical topics like this one and some other that are coming along the way. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you ring the bell, and see you in the next video.